In my years of ministry, I've come across many individuals or organizations that, because this church is also involved in various social responsibility initiatives, and business people would come and say, listen, this is beyond my tithes and offerings. I want to do a donation or a regular donation towards a orphanage or a social project, but they requiring what they call it Section 18A status. Quite a big word out there. What is Section 18A, and can a church apply for that?
Section 18A is a wonderful benefit given. So a church, remember I said whatever entity you choose, NPO, NPC, the second step is PBO registration. Your Section 18A registration would be part of that PBO registration. So you get PBO on two levels. One is tax exemption, and the other is Section 18A, which is tax exemption for your donors, so they can declare it and not have to pay tax on that. The problem is churches are often denied Section 18A. So churches can be, churches are granted tax exemption, but they're denied Section 18A because there's been a lot of gray areas in terms of what they do. And so SARS has made it that you need to differentiate what functions are happening, and only a certain number of public benefit organizations are granted Section 18A and public benefit objectives. So what that means is, if you're a church that does extensive public benefit work, I would suggest registering a separate entity that is completely focused on that social responsibility work. And according to the level of what you're doing, that's something that we can also give input on. What objectives qualify, and what is your vision like, and what are you looking at long term, because the certain objectives qualify for Section 18A, and then it's separate from your church. It's governed by its own books. There is no complication when it comes to reporting to SARS as to what was Section 18A and what wasn't, and there's a greater chance of being granted Section 18A.
Yeah, so pastors out there, if you have an interest of providing a certificate or tax exemption for donors, Denise is suggesting that you keep the church governance and the entity of the church completely separate, and then you register a separate non-profit company.
A separate non-profit company.
Then applying for PBO status, and then applying for Section 18A. Okay.
Because you have a greater chance of being granted it. If you go in as a church organization, there's an automatic dismissal that's given to Section 18A.